Have you ever had that point in your life when you just wanted to say to God, God, I don't understand you? It's a great place to be as long as you don't stay there. That's what we're going to talk about today in Over the Hump. You know, I guess in my faith journey, I've had a lot of different views about God. Perhaps when I was a little boy, I saw God as this big sheriff in the sky. You know, he had his spiritual six-shooter ready to aim right at me anytime I messed up. And you know, I was afraid of that God. It wasn't a holy, reverent kind of fear. It was a trembling, I'm afraid to be around you kind of God. And then maybe I turned to a view of God as a Santa Claus God. You know, this guy in the sky that you tell him what your wish list is and he brings it to you. But it didn't take long for me to figure out that everything that I asked for, I wasn't getting. And then, you know, when I was disillusioned about that, perhaps I saw God more as this kind of grandpa God. You know, this old guy up there in the sky who was full of wisdom and funny sayings and stuff like that. And you know, anytime I wanted to visit Grandpa, I could kind of do that. Those are so short of who God is. And I was thinking this morning, as I was preparing to share with you, I was thinking about how Job had come to the point where he thought he understood God. He spoke of God. He had faith in God. He believed that God existed, and yet he didn't really fully understand God. But the problem was he didn't admit that he didn't fully understand God. He kept going on and on with the understanding that he had. Now, the Bible tells us that God's ways are not our ways. His thoughts are not our thoughts, for his ways are greater than our ways are. His thoughts are much higher than our thoughts. And perhaps that was the one misunderstanding that Job had during all of his trials. Now, how about you? Do you understand that you don't fully understand God, but that we should do all that we can do to comprehend who God is? And he's given us his wonderful word to come to some comprehension and better understanding of who God is. For Job, it took that final moment there in the final chapters of the book of Job when God finally speaks out and says, Job, now brace yourself like a man because I'm about to speak. Who is this that obscures knowledge without understanding? And you know what? That's what we do when we limit God to what our understanding of God is and who he is. And let's admit it. I don't care how long you've been in your faith walk, many years like I have been, or you've just started, or you're still seeking that faith walk with God. We'll never fully understand God, but that should never stop us. And God spoke out of the storm to Job, and he said, Job, sit back for a moment, because I'm going to reveal some things to you. And he said things like this. He says, were you there when I measured out the earth and the width of it and the height of it and how it was going to be? Tell me if you were there. Tell me if you were there when I hung the stars in their place and the moon in their place. I'd like to know if you understood that and you were there and you saw that. And then God goes on and on and on for a good little while, revealing more and more about himself and his character and who he is to Job. And I want to share with you how Job responded to all of that, so that maybe today, as we go over the hump together, that we could do the same. We could come to that very same point. Listen to what Job says. In Job 42, verse 1, then Job replied to the Lord, I know that you can do all things. He didn't say, I've got the whole list of what you can do. He just said, I know you can do all things. No purpose of yours can be thwarted. And then he says to God, he says, you asked me, who is this that obscures my plans without knowledge? And then in dust and ashes, he said, surely I spoke of things I did not understand, things too wonderful for me to know. You said to me, listen now, and I will speak. I will question you, and you shall answer me. And then catch this last little part. My ears had heard of you, but now my eyes have seen you. Therefore I despise myself. It didn't mean Job hated himself. It meant that Job humbled himself before God. He said this. He said, there is a God. I'm not him. Therefore I despise myself, and I repent in dust and ashes. Maybe you've been depending on the God of your understanding. Maybe you've been depending on the God that you have formed in your mind, that sheriff in the sky, that Santa Claus up there, the old grandpa sitting up there in his rocking chair going back and forth. Maybe it's a good day for you to say, God, I know you can do all things. God, I know that no plan of yours is going to be thwarted. God, I tried to understand you and act upon that understanding, but God, I need to trust you even in the parts that I do not grasp and I do not understand. What a great way for you and I to go over the hump today. God bless you and have a great Jesus-filled day.